Hello all, and welcome back to PopCast, the show where we try to cover all things pop culture. My name's Abby, I'm your host, and today we're going to be talking about some of my favorite seasons from the Podcast Hero Club. Also, we've gone video. If you are an audio listener, I apologize, but get over to the YouTube, get over to the Hawk Talk Productions YouTube, and see this incredible space we had put together for us this year, and I'm very excited to be utilizing it. So, today we're going to be talking about the podcast Hero Club. Created by George Primavera and Nick Williams, Hero Club is a podcast that from the get-go sounds like an audio drama, complete with music, sound effects, and an ever-rotating cast of characters and storylines. But it is recording playing the tabletop role-playing game D&D, aka Dungeons & Dragons. George serves as the show's dungeon master, and Nick has played multiple characters across Hero Club's many seasons, and each season is its own contained storyline, and it allows guests to start from the top and just listen all the way through. So a fun fact about me, over the last, I want to say, couple months, I have fallen in love with the world of tabletop role-playing games like Dread, D&D, Betrayal, and I don't know, I just think it's a really cool way to tell stories. And Hero Club, I originally found out about TTRPGs through Smosh's Dread campaign, and then I found out through George, and I love George. I love his style of DMing. He is incredible. If you are a Smosh fan and you haven't watched Dread, do it right now. But that led me to discover Hero Club, and I was never a big fan of D&D. I knew of it, and I was a fan of Stranger Things, and I knew it started playing D&D, but I didn't know much about it. But listening to Hero Club led me down a truly deep rabbit hole of a bunch of different content from multiple different people playing D&D. We have Hero Club, we have The Reslayer's Take, which is a show Nick and George did with Critical Role. We have Sword AF, which is from the folks over at Smosh. And we also have Dimension 20 from the folks over at Dropout. And there are so many more that I am missing, but those are a couple of my favorites. But today we're going to be talking about some of my favorite seasons from Hero Club, and I'm super excited. So our first season is titled It Never Sleeps, a Hank Blackstone mystery. It Never Sleeps, a Hank Blackstone mystery follows Hank Blackstone and Big Charlie, New York City's PIs of the unexplainable, as they are hired for a seemingly ordinary investigation at the Natural History Museum. But when they find themselves in the middle of a deadly situation between the NYPD and the Italian mob, will they be able to close all their loose ends this time? So our main cast entails of George Primavera as the Dungeon Master, Nick Williams as Hank Blackstone, Jack Quaid as Big Charlie, Dylan McCollum as Alfonsi, Lazy Al Moretti. I don't know how to pronounce his first name, I apologize, but he is referred to as Lazy Al throughout a lot of the season. And Marty Abby Schneider as Jake the Bartender, and many others. So the episode titles go as, episode 1 is titled The Blind Shuffle. Episode 2 is titled The Top Change. Episode 3 is titled The Short Deck, and that has Gabe Greenspan and Ryan Bowers as some guest stars. They play Sidecar and Silas Soup, and Ryan also appears as Silas in episode 6. Episode 5, The Black Palm Umi Shakti as Bella Vaughn. Episode 5, The 3 Acres, with Chuck McCollum as Dante Laporte, Lizzie McGroder as Eloise Thompson, and she also appears in episode 6, which is titled The Invisible Fight. So, why do I love this season of Hero Club? So, I love how it feels relaxed, yet it has a bunch of energy throughout the whole thing. You're always on your toes, but it's also just okay, sit back, relax. It's not as intense as some of the other seasons, which I love, because when I listen to Hero Club, any chance I can get, doing homework, driving, literally any chance I can get, I'm either listening to that, or I'm watching some other TTRPG, or I'm listening to a different podcast. But I love how it feels relaxed, and you can just sit back, chill, and it's a lot of fun, you know? I also love the relationship between Nick, who plays Hank, and Big Charlie, played by Jack Quaid. Just their friendship, and also the lingering thought in the back of your mind that Charlie could disappear at any point in time. So basically, for context, Charlie is made of rock. He spawned out of a magical deck, and I can't remember what the deck is called because I just finished listening to this. It is like a deck where like a different card, like you pull it and it means different things will happen. It's utilized a little bit throughout the show about the season, and but it is given to Hank and from Dante, who is a magic shop owner of Dante's Inferno, and basically he draws a card and Charlie appears. To my knowledge, that's really how I interpreted it, but many people interpret it different ways. And there's always a lingering thought in the back of your mind that there is a card, and if you pull it, Charlie's going to go away forever. And just like the lingering thought and like how they build their relationship is, I just tapped that, I apologize. How they build their relationship is really incredible. And yeah, I just really love them. Now I'm getting their names mixed up. Nick and Jack are incredible. I love everything they do. Also, it's based in the 1940s New York City, that era of like middle of World War II or like pre-World War II, but just like the era of like fashion and pop culture and all that stuff that really, I love the aesthetic of it. And I know that's crazy because there were some horrible things happening in the world at that time, but the aesthetic of 1940s New York is one of my favorites. I really do love it. And there's a bunch of magical elements. So basically, Hank and Big Charlie, they own a magic store, and there's just like a bunch of, also it's D&D. There's gonna be like some sorcery, magic, all that stuff. And I really love it. I've always been fascinated by like sleight of hand tricks, like card tricks and like magic and all that stuff. I've always been fascinated by that personally. And this is probably one of my favorite seasons. This is one of the ones I've listened to most recently. And yeah, I really love it. Second season that I love is titled Chains of Atlantis. It is a sequel to a season that came out obviously earlier called The City of Mirrors. After a long search, Theobald Derencroft and his gang of explorers finally reached the lost city of Atlantis. And our main cast entails of George Primavera as the Dungeon Master, who you are safe to assume that he is most likely going to be the DM every single time. Marty Abby Schneider as Theobald Derencroft, Nick Williams as Bones Mahoney, Dylan McCullough as Vanya Baranoff, and Lelia Symington as Jade Pickett. Episode 1 is titled Voices in the Deep. Episode 2 is titled Ashes in the Wind, and it has Jack Murphy as Archibald Pennyweather as a guest star. And in episode 3, titled Craters in the Earth, we see Natasha Mercado as Subby Withers and Benjamin Watts as Grigory Rasputin. Why do I love this season? Now, I have always been fascinated by Atlantis since I was a little kid. The Atlantis Disney movie was one of my all-time favorite movies growing up. And it's just, I've always been like, oh my God, there's this lost city underwater. Like, even if it's not true, just like the idea of that has always been one of my favorite things. And episode 2 of Chains of Atlantis is a masterpiece. A freaking masterpiece. I love it. I'm going to be honest. First time I listened to it, I was confused. I was really, really confused. But after, I want to say, my second listen through of Chains of Atlantis, I fell in love with this episode. I was very confused. Like, I'm like, okay, because it jumps around like times a lot. So it's like, okay, now we're here, now we're there. Like, whose POV are we seeing this from? Is this from like Theobald? Is this from Jade? But it is also incredible after you listen to it for a little bit. Like, I don't know how to explain it without spoiling it, because I want you guys to go listen to these seasons or go find a season that you really like and just fall in love with Hero Club like I did. But I don't know how to explain it without spoiling it, but it's a masterpiece. I really love episode 2. And this was the first season I listened to. This was my first introduction to Hero Club. And I want to say, even without the context of City of Mirrors, this season is incredible. I love this season. So we also, in episode 2, we see the gang slowly reunite after a big blowout that happened in Atlantis. And they still come together to defeat evil, which ends up being, spoiler alert, Rasputin, which is crazy. It's crazy that they would think of that. but it's just, I don't know, like, if you notice throughout these last two campaigns, these last two seasons, the theme of friendship is very prominent with me. I love it. But, yeah, they still come together even after a big blowout. It takes them like 5 years, which we don't see the whole time, but it still takes them like a long time to build out that relationship. But yeah, this was my first introduction to Hero Club, and it is incredible. So I am a newer listener of Hero Club, but I'm also listening to a bunch of campaigns to try to get as much knowledge about this freaking podcast into my veins, because I love it. And if neither of these sound interesting to you, there's definitely a Hero Club season out there for you. I'm currently listening to 2 other seasons that have nothing to do with these two. I'm currently I'm currently listening to a season called The Wild Hunt, and I'm currently listening to another season titled There Be Monsters Here. The Wild Hunt is very intense. It's kind of like horror-y, and it's about werewolves. It's about these 2 guys who are trying to save one of the guy's kids who became a werewolf, and it's kind of gory. Like, if depictions of gore aren't really your thing, would not highly recommend this season. But like, if you don't mind them, or if you are like, if you love them, I would really recommend this season. This season is incredible. I am almost done with it. I'm about halfway through the 4th episode, which is the final episode. So it's not that long of a listen. I started it, I want to say last week when I was writing the script. So it's not that long of a listen. And I've also taken breaks. So you could literally sit down and bop, 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 listen to all of them. And so far, I love it. And the other season is titled There Be Monsters Here, which I'm not as far into. I'm only on about halfway through episode 2. Maybe I'm on episode 3. I don't remember. But it is about pirates. I kind of went into this season blind because I'm going to be honest, I pick the seasons I watch off their cover arts. Sue me. But it's like, okay, it's cool. There's like the Hero Club logo, which is amazing, an amazing logo. And there's a little skull on top of it, and it's black and like white outlines. I'm like, okay, this seems cool. And then George and Nick do their little intro spiel, which is very funny, in my opinion. I like the comedy aspects that they put into that. And then George starts talking, and he's talking like a pirate. And I'm like, wait, is this about pirates? Yes, it's about animal pirates. So it's like really lighthearted. It's very sweet. I don't know if it's going to take a dark turn. It probably will, but I don't know if it's going to take a dark turn. I'm enjoying how lighthearted this season is. And also, the date I'm filming this is November 11th. So to me, it's Christmas time. It is Christmas season. We had our first snowfall here. I am in the Christmas mood, and that means it is officially time to listen to, I think they have 2 or 3 Christmas seasons out. It's like, I haven't listened to any of them because I've been waiting for this time of year, but I'm so excited. So yeah, there are so many different seasons out there. So I highly recommend you go and look at Hero Club if you are into D&D, or if you're just into storytelling. The D&D aspect aside, it is a great story throughout the whole thing. There are so many good stories, and the player characters, and the DM, they are all incredible storytellers, and I would highly recommend if you are into audio dramas. And you can find all of those via anywhere you get your podcasts, and then they also have, I think, most of the seasons available on their YouTube channel, alongside a bunch of different live streams they did, which are very entertaining, very funny. It's like, you don't get that edited aspect, you get that raw aspect of just people around a table playing D&D, people on Zoom playing D&D. It's awesome. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of podcast. I highly recommend you go listen to Hero Club, and I will catch you later. Bye.